Hello, friends. Welcome and namaste. Crystal Joy Johnson of CJoy Yoga. We're going to move a little more somatically today. What does that mean? It's such a popular word these days, right? But basically, instead of trying to hit shapes and forms, and we're going to try to get this muscle to turn on, and that the precision that sometimes I teach with, not perfection, right? But the precision, we're going to let go of that, and we're going to try to just really feel things out, and it's more exploratory. Instead of thinking we have this shape we're going to put the body in, we're going to just move the body and really notice what's happening and what feels beneficial, what doesn't. Oh, if I move this way, oh, that's interesting, right? And so kind of put that hat on before we start moving too much. Also, I don't think you're going to need any props today. Depending on how tight your hips are, you might want to strap, but I think you'll be able to get away with no props. And you'll notice that I'm pretty cleared out. Technically, you don't even need a mat, but I'm going to leave one under me. Go ahead and start lying down on your back. And when you get there, just take a couple of moments. You can be in Shavasana or constructive rest pose and just notice where you're starting from. Those of you who are regulars, you know one of the very first thing I do is try to ground us. Right? Various ways to do that. Super simple. What's touching the ground? Is the back of your neck? Probably not. Your low back? Probably not. So not the entire back body is touching the ground right now. What is, what isn't, just notice. Notice the breath. I often coach us into soft belly breath. And let's put our feet on the ground. So for the first bit, you're going to go ahead and you're going to bring that right foot towards your chest and grab on with your ankle, heel, something like that with your left hand. This is where if you can't get that, you could always grab a strap so that it's a little further away and a little more accessible. We're not going to use the left leg for eye of the needle today. Rather, we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to use that left hand and we're going to just start to move that right leg around in space. How do I let go of that? Just play with it, right? What happens when the knee moves a little to the right or towards the chest? If you do circles, what happens when the leg comes across the midline? When the knee moves forward towards the right side of the chest and forward and towards the left. And just start to get a sense of that right hip and all those big old muscles around it. And of course, knees a bit in play right now too, right? And then from there, maybe bring that right hand behind the bed. And as you exhale, maybe you curl up and you pull the heel a little towards the chest. And then as you inhale, bring the upper body down and you might start to straighten that right leg in. And exhaling into that fetal position ish. Not your heel. And then play with it. What happens if you pull the heel more towards the left shoulder when you roll up, where the head goes a little to the right? Or what if I straighten the leg more over to the left compared to through the center line compared to the right? Let it really just be very free moving. Maybe you don't even do the roll up exactly, and you just play with sometimes lifting up, but not on the breath and not in the pattern. And then go ahead, come on down, bring that right foot down, and let's rest in just feet on the ground, knees bent, feet hip distance. And notice that right side. Notice the right side and then use that left side as a point of contrast since we haven't been in that hip at all. Probably pretty different. That left leg is going to come towards you, the heel. Grab onto the heel or the ankle or some such thing with the right hand. And again, start with the upper body down on the ground and just simply move that left leg around. And again, there's so many different ways that can go down, right? Foot can come closer to the chest while the knee moves further away. That can happen to the right, the left. You can bring both of them towards the chest or through a arc or a circle, or just close your eyes. Don't look at me for guidance. Listen to your body and just start to move in a way that explores mobility, range of motion. No judgment on any of it, just noticing what you notice. And then if you were enjoying playing with that hand behind the head, you'll bring your left hand behind your head. And again, if you want to just start with a pattern, you can kind of exhale and roll up, and the foot can come closer as the body lifts. Then you inhale down, and maybe the left leg straightens a little or a lot. And then from that, be willing to just explore, play, and make that whatever that is to you. There doesn't have to be a rhythm or a pattern. And remember that everything is connected. We'll just kind of say it that way, but meaning it's like, why rolling up through the spine? What does that do in my pelvis if this is a pelvis, an upper hips and upper leg class? It's like, actually, it does. So you might notice that. Like, if my head lays on the ground and I straighten my leg a bit, whatever direction. And then I start to lift up. How does that change things in my pelvis, my hip, my leg? And then whenever you feel like you're complete with that side, go ahead and put that left foot down, arms Shavasana style. Notice what you notice. Okay. Now we're going to walk our feet a little wider, slide the arms up. We're going to start with the basic internal rotation, right? So with our feet about as wide as our mat, heels not too close to the buttocks, right? You're going to let your right knee start to drop in towards the midline. And then you don't have to like turn on a bunch of muscles to stabilize, but try not to let your right side of your hip lift up too much. So the pelvis is fairly stable even as that right knee drops in. I find sometimes that walking my right foot further out to the right kind of helps me drop that in and find that internal rotation. And then bring that up. We'll come into a playful place with it in just a second. Let that left knee drop down and in. And again, don't let the left hip lift too much. Maybe the left foot moves a little wider. Be willing to play. What happens when it moves into the midline? What happens when it moves away? And just kind of notice that. Okay, and then come back. Now, we're going to bring both legs into, think windshield wiper, right? But again, even at that, be kind of playful. What happens if one leg leads and the other leg kind of reluctantly follows? Or what happens if when you get to one side, you hug the top glued in, or whatever that is. So that knee reaching forward. And I'm going to add a playful pattern. You're welcome to join in. I'm going to talk it through for a second, so a little bit of talk. Legs go to the right. That left knee is going to swing up towards the right armpit, across the chest to the left. It does a circle. By the time the foot gets down on the left side of the mat, the right knee comes over. And then the right knee swings up to the armpit, all the way over. So something like that, but also be willing to let that be whatever it becomes and however you want to explore and play that. And then the next time that the knees are over to the right, let's leave them there. If it's all right with your body, you're going to put your right foot on your left thigh like we sometimes do. Now, keeping that right foot could be on the ground. Now we're going to play up top. So you're going to let that left hand kind of sweep up and over. You roll over towards the right side. Let the head be really loose. Maybe swing that open. Maybe the arm keeps going. Just play with whatever that is. Maybe the head turns. Maybe it doesn't. Try to let the neck be incredibly soft. Feel free to bring your right hand under your head, unless that feels like it gets in the way, and then don't. And then the next time, you're kind of over towards the right. I'm going to change my position on the mat so that you can see me a little bit better. But you're kind of over onto the right. You're going to bring the left hand down and slide up onto your right elbow. I like it out a little bit personally. And my right foot is still caught on that left knee. Now I'm going to walk my left foot up and in, and I'm going to try to get that right thigh to come down and rest on the ground, right? And I can kind of lean into this. I'm getting an opening in my right ribs. If that hurts the shoulder, you can lay down on your side. So now we're going to work with passive and active in this right leg. And it's passive right now. Right? You can let that left knee kind of come up into it. Now, give just a little bit of action to this right leg, and you're going to try to keep that right leg where it is in space, even as that left knee starts to straighten down, and you'll see how far mine dropped. I do what I can, right? And then I bring it in, bring it into that passive stretch, and then I try to actively hold using the muscles of the right thigh. What muscles are those? How do I even do that? Right? So be willing to be playful and just explore what that is in your body. We don't hold this in external rotation actively very often. So yeah, you betcha it's kind of humbling, right? I recently took a series quite a bit like this online from a teacher, just a pre-recorded, and I was just loving some of the things that he introduced. Rocky Heron is his name. And then the next time you're up with that foot down on the ground, we're going to come all the way up. You can separate the legs out and have, 90-90-ish. You can play with what that is for your body. Bring the fingertips down and just go ahead and you're going to move up and down a few times. Feel free to move that. This is where I like having my knees on the mat, but you might not need it. Different knees, different things. Feel free to just kind of move that around and play when you move the body towards the ground. I'm putting that in huge air quotes, right? And when the hips stay fairly still, although they're not still at all as I do this. Maybe circle whatever you want. Again, there are no rules, people. Okay, so now if you want to add a little more load, right, weight bearing, we take our fingers off the ground and we can just bring our hands somewhere on our hips or by our heart. The closer my arms are to my body, the less weight they are, right? So I can do the same thing. I can kind of move that around and play with that in any shape or form, as long as, of course, it feels safe and it doesn't feel like you're hurting anything, no sharp shooting pain. And if I want to play with arm movement, of course, the further my arms get away from my body, whether that's to the side or up, right? I can play with my arms, and when I come up, I'm using my legs. If that doesn't feel right, leave your fingertips on the ground and let your arms do a majority of the moving of the upper body. And then we're going to come back down. So we're going to reach and slide that right arm out and slide down onto your back. Come into, quote, neutral. Pause for a moment and just notice what to notice. Okay, so we're going to bring our feet wide. We're going to let our knees move to the left. We're going to put the left foot on the right thigh. And it doesn't have to be, just a reminder, we're going to explore the other side, but it doesn't have to be exactly the same. We'll kind of set up at a couple of the same starting points, and then you get to play and explore. So you can stay right here, right? And then you can work with this. You might Start to let that right arm slide up and over and do circles, rolling onto your side or not. Head can turn any direction it wants to and play. It can look the opposite way of the arm, same way. Try to let your neck be really soft. Um, I have played with this one before with teaching, right? And when I do, a lot of times I see people really gripping and holding in the neck. So try not to do that. The next time you're on your left side body, we'll bring that right hand down and push that till that left forearm can come down. Of course, you could lay on your side with your head supported or whatever. My legs are still in the same basic position. And then I'm going to start to walk that right foot up a little closer to me. And I'm going to see if I can get this left thigh back down to the ground. Right? That might be a feat in itself. And then if I need to adjust I need to adjust my elbow, I'm realizing. And then pause. You can let the left ribs stretch if that feels okay. Don't worry about that. You can play with that and explore. But the part I want you to play with in a in a in a blah, blah, can't talk. Try to keep this passive when the leg is in there, helping to stretch it into it, and then try to actively hold the leg in place as the right leg straightens out some capacity. Foot can continue to stay down to the ground. It can stay lifted and play. Play with it and just kind of notice how difficult it is to hold that left leg in place when that right leg goes away from it. Humbling. And then remembering, oh, I don't ask my body to do this very often. It makes quite a bit of sense that it doesn't hold it as easily as I would think it should be able to, or whatever. Come on up. Oh. And again, I'm going to move back so my knees are on my mat. I'm in 90-ish, but again, whatever that is for you. I'm going to start with my fingertips on the ground, and I'm going to use my arms as one of my main forces of movement. But I do get to play and move around and coming up and down ish, swaying right to left, adding a little twisting. And I don't look at me. Close your eyes and listen to your body. At some point in time, I might take those hands, pardon me, up off of the ground, and I might play with anytime my body weight goes forward, I use my legs pushing down into the ground to bring my upper body back into that basic upright posture. Again, there's nothing exact about that. I can start to play with my arms in space. There is no right or wrong. I'm just moving my body and noticing how it affects me. I just made that sound. You're like, yeah, I know. Don't do that again. And then come on back to center-ish. We're going to slide that left arm out, hand down, roll onto your back. Find yourself in whatever position, well, you want, but you might go back to that when you started class with. It's not a necessary thing, right? But it does give us that blueprint. Like, this is where I was at in my pelvis, my hips, my upper leg muscles, etc., my body in general when we started. Notice what sensations are moving through the body and that they're moving. Yay! Instead of being stagnant, there's movement. This is great. Being present with whatever is, accepting what you notice without trying to change it. Nothing to fix, nothing to change, and nothing to improve. Just being in this beautiful body. And if you want to lie here, please feel free. If you want to take this into another sequence, now having this awareness of the hips and the belly and this playful nature, you might bring that into a different yoga sequence or just continue rolling around. We're going to bring our hands together from our back today, friends, in front of our chest. Inhale. Let everything release and relax. Don't get your neck all jammy, but gently let the chin move towards the chest with the head on the ground. And namaste from